Hello, listeners. It's Susanna from VEC. To cap off Mental Health Week, we're highlighting this special episode on mental health, hosted and produced by high school students Jasmine, Sam, and Abigail. Be aware that today's podcast contains important and sensitive material on depression and anxiety that might be difficult to hear. It is our hope that sharing these stories can encourage empathy, understanding, and support. And if you or someone you know is in distress, find help by calling the Kids Help Phone at 1-800-668-6868 or 1-866-277-3553 for adults.
My Québec City podcast.
Hey, how you doing, people? I'm Jasmine, and I'm here with my friends Sam and Abigail to talk to you about mental health problems and how it affects you.
Hi everyone, I'm Abigail. So first off, Sam, what are some facts that you know about mental health so we can know a bit more about it?
Well, some facts that I've learned are that more than 43 million Americans struggle with mental illness, and that 1 in 5 teens struggle with a mental illness or will develop one in their lifetime. So, if you think that you're alone, you're not. So don't hesitate to talk to someone about it if you need to. Well, what are some things that you know about mental health and illness?
Okay, what I know is that the definition of mental illness is the health condition that involves changes in emotion, thinking, or behavior. It can also be a combination of all these. Mental illness is usually associated with distress or problems functioning in social, work, or family life. And Jasmine, what are some things that you think?
I know that there are over 200 classified forms of mental illnesses, but the 5 most common ones are 1. Anxiety disorders, 2. Mood disorders, 3. Schizophrenia/psychotic disorders, and then 4. You have dementia, and 5. You have eating disorders. And also, another fact that I learned is that the youth depression rates went from 5.9% to 8.2% since 2012. But Sam, you told me that you wanted to share a personal story. What is this personal story?
So, in my life, I have lived with anxiety, and it's taken its toll in a way. It's given me thoughts of running away. It just makes you not want to live anymore when it happens too much. It just hurts, and I hate it. Everyone does. And I've always wondered why it exists. But that's something that not even scientists can find out, I don't think. And Jasmine, I heard that you also wanted to share a personal story.
When I was about 9, my mom was having some troubles taking care of herself. And she was going in a downward spiral. She wouldn't eat, and we also had a lot of financial problems. So that was really hard. So I ended up going into this DPG project type thing. Some of you might not know what it is, but it's a place where children go if their parents are mean to them. Usually it's because if the parents beat the child or something like that. My mom never really did anything like that, but she was having trouble taking care of herself, so we ended up getting put into the DPG. And then while I was in the DPG, they ended up sending me to a foster home for 2 years. But I don't really like is that in the foster home, they preferred my sister over me. So I would always get in trouble, and they would always yell at me. I'd always be put in timeout, and they'd force me to eat sometimes. I actually ended up getting an eating disorder because of that. So now, even if I'm full to the point of vomiting, I still continue eating until I'm done everything on my plate, because they force me to eat everything that was in my plate. And now, I don't try to think about the foster home too much. I think of it as a past experience, and I try not to think of it otherwise than that. And now everything's going a bit better, but sometimes I still get too stressed because I also have anxiety and a bit of depression. Depression I haven't told anybody about. You're the first one to be hearing about this, whoever's listening. So I have trouble dealing with that. But if you're like out there in the world and you feel like you're alone, just know that you're not. There's a lot of people around the world who have trouble, and things will get better. So, what's your opinion on like how to treat depression and anxiety?
Okay, that's a more harder topic to answer, but I think the first step would be to acknowledge whether you have it or not, and to like what certain degree, since several different people might say they have depression, but they all react to it differently and are affected by different ways by it.
Mm-hmm. Like, also, I think that it would help if the parents would actually acknowledge that their child had that problem and would try to help them through it, because a lot of the cases of like suicide or people who have depression and stuff is because their parents wouldn't acknowledge it, or nobody around the people would help them. And I've actually encountered a lot of people who like have suicidal thoughts. So if we acknowledge that it's a true problem and that exists, it would probably help.
Yeah, like they shouldn't just like pass it on to a side, just like you'll get over it. Like it's not a big deal. Stop.
Just stop thinking about it, like just leave it alone. So like that'll probably go away in due time.
Yeah, and that they should like help them get help from other sources, talk to someone about it. I don't know, maybe a teacher, a parent, if like someone they trust.
Yeah. Well, something I just thought of is that like social media is actually also a big problem, because now there's social media and then there's people seeing like others who they think that they look prettier than them, but there's a high possibility that they had some modification to them.
And another thing on the social media thing, people on Instagram, for example, some of them need approval for who they are. And when they don't get it, they tend to get depressed.
Like in that sense, social media is sort of like a vice. Instead of alcohol or any other consumption, they just go to social media for confirmation and for like the burst of approval that they get from it.
Yeah, and like depression, like I talked about it earlier, but it went up a lot, like the depression rates and stuff. I find that social media is probably causing that. Now, since social media exists, a lot of people see an image that they want to be, but think they can't achieve that image, so they just like resolve to harm.
Oh, another thing is like the good sides and bad sides of social media, or just like internet in general, like how you can get an online therapy, and before social media, you couldn't.
Also, like one of the problems with social media is that people usually don't allow to see mistakes on social media. So you'll just see like the perfect side of them. Well, not the perfect, because perfect's impossible, but like their better side that they allow to show. But even if you think that like some celebrities, they might seem happy, but you never know if they're actually not, because they probably just hide it away. So that's like a thing that social media does. It makes people look perfect and like not have any problems at all. While some people actually might, or like can make other people want to be like that or dread it too.
And you said that you only see the perfect side, but sometimes when it's not really that good for the person in context, social media will just say, hey, that's not good, he needs to be canceled. And suddenly they're making apology videos saying that they're sorry, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, if like famous person there seemed like have troubles or did something not on purpose, then like they have a lot of people going after them too, which is pretty sad.
Okay, so on the subject of school, like how can it also affect your mental health?
Well, for someone like me who has anxiety, sometimes school can be like overwhelming when there are like too many projects at once and like too much homework.
And also, this is actually a fun fact I learned about not too long ago. Homework was not intended to be homework. It was actually intended to be a punishment for kids in their class who like wouldn't behave and stuff. The teacher would assign them work for home. And actually, now with homework, it was proven that like kids who don't have homework and stuff are actually doing better in school. Because like, what's the point of like having to teach myself something at home, because also some teachers, if they assign homework, they think they don't need to teach it properly, which doesn't help some kids at all.
That is completely true, and I agree.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like I've heard in the news, or I can't remember which state, but they don't give homework certain schools, and the curriculum is very like free, and you get to learn like home ec,
Like fun courses?
Yeah, like necessary for when you're an adult and you have to do like taxes, and it prepares you for real life.
So you said that kids without homework are doing better academically.
Yeah, it's actually like proven, because as Abigail said, some schools don't have homework and they have been improving because their mind has been more free, so they're focusing more on school.
That's actually really cool.
And also, if you don't have homework, you won't dread going to school as much, because some people are just like, oh, I don't want to go to this class, I'm probably going to get homework, and it kind of sucks for them.
So, how do you think the pandemic affected mental health?
Well, it certainly kept people at home for a long, long time without seeing any of their friends, so lots of loneliness there.
People being isolated probably didn't help, because since we had to have social distancing,
That was English.
and everything like that, it didn't really help much. It's like some people were fine and adapted to it, and some people may have actually preferred it.
Yeah, I feel like some people their lifestyle might not have even changed. They just always stayed at home.
Exactly.
True.
Okay, well, anyways, that's all for now.
And remember, if you ever need help, don't forget to call the mental health hotline in your area.
And now for like 2 seconds of bloopers.
Fortnite is a bad mental issue.
You just leave it. You cut it out.
Yeah, it's recording right now, though. There. What? It's true.
Well, now bye everyone.